In the crucible of battle, one man defied all odds. Alexander, leading his thunderbolt charge, plunged into the heart of an empire. For Darius, the tide had turned. His colossal army, once mighty, now fractured. The great king himself fled for his life. This was the unbreakable shield. The Macedonian phalanx, a living wall of spears, stood defiant against the overwhelming Persian tide. Two titans collided at Issus. The fate of ancient empires hung precariously in the balance, a struggle for ultimate dominion. This is Issus, a narrow coastal plain, destined to become the crucible where history's most epic clash unfolded. Here, Alexander the Great, with his formidable Macedonian army, stood poised, a young conqueror facing his greatest test. His army, though smaller, was a finely tuned instrument of war. Every man a veteran, forged in countless victories. Against him, the colossal might of the Persian Empire, a force so vast, it dwarfed any army seen before. Hundreds of thousands strong, their ranks stretched beyond vision. A seemingly unstoppable tide, ready to engulf Macedon. This was no mere skirmish. This was the stage set for an epic clash, a monumental confrontation of empires. The air thick with anticipation, the ground awaiting its destiny. Issus beckoned, promising a battle of unparalleled ferocity. The odds were impossible. Alexander faced a host outnumbering his forces by an unimaginable margin. A true David and Goliath. How could such a smaller force possibly prevail against the greatest empire the world had ever known? Many believed it folly, but at Issus, more than just armies would clash. These were world-altering stakes, where the future of civilization lay. For Alexander, victory meant the continuation of his father's legacy, the forging of a Hellenistic empire across continents. For Darius, defeat meant the unraveling of centuries of Persian dominance, the potential collapse of his vast Achaemenid realm. This battle wasn't just about survival. It was about rewriting military history itself, forging new doctrines of warfare. To overcome such overwhelming numbers required more than courage. It demanded unparalleled strategic genius, a mind capable of miracles. The Persian advantage was staggering. Yet, Alexander envisioned a path to victory, exploiting every terrain feature and weakness. Prepare for a deep dive. We will unravel the brilliance that allowed a smaller force to destroy a 250,000-strong army. Join us as we analyze every crucial decision, every devastating maneuver, and the tactical mastery that changed the world. This is the story of Issus, where Alexander's will clashed with an empire, a true testament to the audacity of genius. For centuries, Macedon was a forgotten kingdom on the fringes of the Greek world, an untamed land. Then came Philip II, a king with vision, determined to forge an empire from this wilderness. Philip revolutionized warfare. His formidable sarissa-wielding phalanx transformed Macedon's fighting capability into an unstoppable force. He forged a professional army, a disciplined machine, ready to conquer any foe who dared stand in its path. Under Philip's astute leadership, Macedon swiftly expanded its dominion, asserting control over the fragmented Greek city-states. Philip built the foundation, but his son would inherit an empire primed for unparalleled conquest and glory. Upon Philip's assassination, a 20-year-old Alexander seized the Macedonian throne, his destiny now his own. With ruthless efficiency, Alexander crushed internal dissent, consolidating his power with decisive and immediate actions. The young king immediately campaigned north, subduing rebellious tribes in Thrace and Illyria to secure his borders. Rumors of Alexander's death sparked rebellion in Greece, a challenge he would answer with brutal force. Thebes dared defy him. Alexander marched swiftly, laying siege to the defiant city with overwhelming might. The city's destruction sent a chilling message: challenge Alexander and face utter devastation. Greece was pacified. His early campaigns showcased a tactical brilliance, an unyielding will, and an ambition unlike any before him. With Greece secured, Alexander's gaze turned irrevocably eastward, towards the colossal ancient empire of Persia. The desire for vengeance burned bright, a sacred mission to avenge generations of Persian aggression against Greece. Beyond revenge, Alexander sought unparalleled glory, an eternal legacy inscribed in the annals of history. The lure of unimaginable wealth and vast resources fueled his grand ambition, a prize beyond any king's dream. Spanning 3 continents, from Egypt to India, the Achaemenid Persian Empire was a power unrivaled in scale. Its immense wealth flowed from conquered lands, building cities of unparalleled grandeur and legendary opulence. Darius III inherited this vast, diverse empire. He was a capable leader, yet untested against a rising titan. Darius commanded an army of hundreds of thousands, a diverse, formidable force drawn from every corner of his dominion. At its heart stood the Immortals, the elite guard, renowned warriors symbolizing Persia's enduring military might and prestige. A sophisticated administrative network held the diverse empire together, managing vast territories with remarkable efficiency and order. Countless cultures, languages, and religions thrived under Persian rule, a testament to its vast cosmopolitan nature. Despite its might, the empire faced internal unrest and challenges, a colossal entity with its own vulnerabilities. But Alexander, fueled by destiny and sheer audacity, saw not an unconquerable empire, but a prize awaiting capture. 2 titans, one rising conqueror and one established emperor, were now on an inevitable collision course. The fate of the known world hung in the balance, a monumental struggle about to redefine an era. This wasn't merely a war, it was a clash of civilizations, setting the stage for legendary battles to come. The young conqueror's audacious gamble was set. The world held its breath for the coming storm. Across sun-drenched plains and towering mountains lay an empire of unimaginable scale and breathtaking opulence, Persia. This realm of glittering riches drew immense wealth from every corner of its vast, diverse territories. From Fertile Crescent to distant shores, an economic engine fueled an empire of unprecedented power and influence. The Golden Throne of Persia commanded tribute and respect from countless peoples under its dominion. Such boundless wealth allowed Persia to field armies unlike any seen before, truly immense in scale. The empire's coffers were legendary, vast reserves of gold and silver funding unparalleled grandeur and ambition. From the satrap's courts to the great king's palace, opulence defined the lives of Persia's elite. The Silk Road and ancient maritime routes funneled treasures, making Persia the world's commercial hub. Every province, from Egypt to India, contributed to the colossal wealth that empowered the Achaemenid dynasty. This immense wealth sustained not just armies, but a culture of lavish excess and unparalleled imperial power. Persia's military was a mosaic of nations, a truly diverse host drawn from every corner of the vast empire. From the elite immortal guard to tribal horsemen, each unit brought unique strengths and tactics. Archers from the east, spearmen from the south, Greek hoplites from the west, an overwhelming collective. This multicultural force, united under the great king, represented the ultimate symbol of imperial might. Never before had such a diverse and numerous army been assembled, a testament to Persian dominance. Yet, beneath this facade of invincibility lay strategic vulnerabilities, cracks in the golden armor. Vast distances and disparate cultures could strain logistics, communication, and ultimately, imperial cohesion. Maintaining control over such a sprawling dominion was a constant challenge, ripe for external exploitation. At the heart of this colossal empire stood King Darius III, a monarch thrust into an unprecedented challenge. Not born to the throne, Darius ascended through a tumultuous succession, inheriting a kingdom on the brink. He was a man of immense personal courage, yet faced the impossible task of halting Alexander's unstoppable advance. His leadership, though untested against such a foe, now represented Persia's last, best hope. The geopolitical landscape crackled with tension. Alexander's lightning campaign had shattered Persian control. 2 titans on a collision course, their empires inexorably drawn into a cataclysmic confrontation. The Persian high command grappled with the Macedonian threat, strategizing how to finally crush the young conqueror. The stage was set, the armies amassed, bringing these 2 powerful empires to the very brink of war. For Darius, this was not merely a battle, It was a personal struggle for his legacy and his family. Their safety, their very lives, were intrinsically tied to the outcome of the looming conflict. The weight of generations, the vastness of Persia's golden empire, rested squarely on Darius's shoulders. Two titans, two empires, poised on the precipice. The future of the world hung in their fateful balance. A turning point looms. Alexander faced a monumental choice, one that would irrevocably shape the destiny of an empire. His gaze, sharp and calculating, swept across the landscape. The weight of an epic confrontation rested upon his judgment. This was the ground Alexander chose, a narrow coastal plain, bounded by mountains and the churning sea. A single, crucial decision defined everything. It was here, at Issus, where fate would soon reveal itself. A strategic map comes to life, highlighting the Pinarus River's winding course, a natural fortress waiting. The Pinarus River, flowing swift and cold, became the unseen ally, its banks a formidable barrier. The plain, compressed between formidable natural features, allowed no easy passage, a geographic choke point. This unforgiving terrain dictated the terms of engagement. It would level the playing field, defying sheer numbers. The vast Persian army, an endless tide of humanity, marched with over 250,000 warriors strong. Darius's overwhelming force, stretched across the landscape, sought to envelop Alexander's smaller army entirely. Yet, the confined space became a great equalizer. It robbed the Persians of their greatest numerical advantage. The narrow pass created a bottleneck, forcing the massive Persian ranks into a compacted, less effective formation. Hundreds of thousands were rendered irrelevant by geography. Their sheer numbers were strategically diminished by the terrain. An aerial view reveals the terrain's cruel truth. Limited space for maneuver, a trap for the unwary. Persian cavalry, legendary for their sweeping charges, represented a primary strategic asset for Darius's army. But here, their thunderous maneuverability was severely hampered. The ground worked against their devastating power. Broken ground, hidden ravines, and riverbeds conspired. The terrain conspired to bind the swift hooves of their horsemen. Close up on Persian cavalry struggling to maintain formation, their movements becoming disjointed and ineffective. Alexander's genius shone through this decision. His strategic foresight would turn weakness into overwhelming strength. The two titanic armies began their grim dance. Dust rose, signaling the prelude to an epic confrontation. Persian formations, vast and seemingly endless, stretched towards the Pinarus, aiming to crush their foe. Macedonian scouts, hidden amongst the hills, meticulously relayed every enemy movement to their cunning general. Darius deployed his immortals, the elite, at the center, a formidable, unyielding wall of experienced warriors. The Persian king commanded his vast, multi-ethnic army, a kaleidoscope of cultures and fighting styles, from his central position. Alexander's smaller, more disciplined force advanced steadily into the chosen killing ground, resolute and unflinching. Every Macedonian step was precise, every formation rehearsed. They moved with the silent, deadly efficiency of a machine. The Macedonian phalanx, a bristling forest of sarissas, took its position. An impenetrable, disciplined force, Alexander positioned his phalanx with surgical precision, anchoring his left flank firmly on the impassable river. The Pinarus River became a natural extension of his defenses, protecting his vulnerable flank from encirclement. On his right, Alexander massed his formidable companion cavalry. The hammer blow awaited its moment. These elite horsemen, perfectly positioned, stood ready to deliver the decisive, crushing strike that would break Persia. Alexander, stoic and resolute, surveyed his meticulously deployed forces. Every piece was perfectly in place. The stage was set. Two empires, two titans, poised on the narrow ground, awaiting the bloody dawn. The moment of truth arrived. The mighty Persian Empire arrayed against Alexander's determined Macedonians. Knowing the overwhelming numbers, Alexander placed his trust in an ancient, perfected weapon, the phalanx. At the heart of his formation stood the Macedonian phalanx, an unyielding block of seasoned warriors. This was no mere line of men. but a living, breathing fortress designed for ultimate defense. Each phalangite wielded a sarissa, a spear up to 18 feet long, creating an impenetrable bristling hedge. Across the plain, the Persian waves began their relentless advance, a tide of humanity crashing forward. Hundreds of thousands, driven by the great king's will, aimed to shatter Alexander's disciplined line. Before the main clash, Macedonian skirmishers harassed the Persian flanks, buying precious time. Volley after volley of arrows rained down, disrupting enemy formations before the true impact. Then came the impact. The first wave of Persian infantry crashed against the unyielding spear wall. Faces contorted with effort, the phalanx held its ground, a testament to their unbreakable resolve. Thousands of spears, like a deadly porcupine, met the charge, impaling those who dared approach. The sound was deafening, a symphony of destruction as two mighty forces collided in a desperate struggle. Despite the immense pressure, the phalanx refused to yield, pushing back against the overwhelming numbers. Persian infantry, caught on the deadly pikes, struggled in vain, their advance grinding to a halt. Skirmishers continued their vital work, preventing flanking maneuvers and inflicting further casualties. Archers added to the carnage, disrupting the enemy's rear, compounding their frustration and fear. The phalanx was an impenetrable anvil, absorbing the hammer blows of Persia, refusing to shatter. Another wave, even more furious, crashed against the unyielding Macedonian line, seeking any weakness. Each man stood firm, a living part of the indomitable machine, his resolve mirroring his comrades. The sheer weight of numbers was suffocating, a relentless, crushing pressure against the Macedonian center. But discipline, forged in generations of warfare, held the line, an unbreakable, unified shield. It was the perfect anvil, absorbing blow after blow, grinding down the spirit of the Persian assault. Now, the elite Greek mercenaries, hired by Persia, entered the fray, seeking to breach the spear wall. Combat intensified. Hand-to-hand fighting erupted as mercenaries desperately tried to cut through. The phalanx moved as one, a singular, massive organism, repelling every frantic, desperate lunge. Wave after relentless wave of Persian fury broke against the phalanx, an unmoving, unyielding force. For hours the phalanx held, bleeding but unbroken, a testament to their unparalleled resilience in battle. Through sheer will and grueling training, they endured, transforming exhaustion into unwavering resolve. This wasn't just brute force, it was tactical genius, a formation designed to defeat overwhelming odds. An indomitable barrier, they formed a bulwark that no amount of Persian might could ever hope to truly break. Persian morale began to crack, their endless charges faltered against the phalanx's unyielding strength. The anvil held. The Macedonian phalanx had withstood the storm, proving itself truly unstoppable. The air at Issus hung heavy with the clash of steel, a brutal symphony of ancient warfare. But Alexander saw an opening, a critical vulnerability in the sprawling Persian defenses. The Pinarus River, a formidable obstacle, lay between his cavalry and the Persian flank. On the Macedonian right, his elite companion cavalry, the hammer, stood poised for glory. With a powerful gesture, Alexander himself signaled the fateful moment for his thunderbolt strike. The ground began to tremble, a low rumble growing into a deafening roar of impending impact. Across the Pinarus, Alexander's finest plunged, water churning around powerful hooves. No obstacle could halt them. Each warrior's resolve was absolute, a testament to their unwavering loyalty and training under Alexander. Emerging from the river, the cavalry reformed. Picking up speed, a fearsome, unstoppable wave, the hammer was unleashed, a disciplined storm of steel and flesh, accelerating towards the enemy line. On the Persian left, alarm rippled through their ranks as the Macedonian fury descended rapidly. Then came the impact, a devastating collision that shattered the Persian formation like fragile glass. Sarissas, longer than spears, became instruments of absolute destruction, carving paths through the enemy. Alexander, always at the vanguard, fought with ferocious intensity, inspiring his men to unmatched feats. The speed and coordinated weight of the charge proved utterly overwhelming, scattering their unprepared foe. A gaping wound opened in the Persian flank, a critical breach in their seemingly impenetrable defenses. Panic began to spread among the Persian ranks. Their left wing was crumbling under this relentless assault. The daring maneuver had succeeded, precisely as Alexander had envisioned, shattering Persian morale completely. Alexander's personal leadership was absolute, his presence a beacon of courage, driving his warriors forward. The battle's tide was turning, pulled by the sheer force and strategic genius of Alexander's charge. This wasn't merely a charge, it was a devastating tactical masterstroke, executed with brutal efficiency. Symbols of Persian authority fell, signaling the irreversible collapse of their once formidable formation. The Persian left dissolved into a chaotic rout, fleeing the relentless fury of Alexander's cavalry. Alexander, unrelenting, pressed the advantage, exploiting every weakness, securing his overwhelming victory. The hammer continued its work, driving deep, preventing any chance of Persian reorganization or counterattack. The collapse on the left sent shockwaves through the entire Persian army, sowing widespread panic. With a single decisive stroke, Alexander had twisted the entire fate of the monumental Battle of Issus. His daring, personal leadership had transformed a tactical gamble into an absolute, resounding triumph. The thunderbolt strike had proven unstoppable, a testament to the Macedonians' superior discipline and tactics. The entire Macedonian line now surged, sensing victory, overwhelming the beleaguered Persian resistance. The river crossing, the charge, the breakthrough, all flawlessly executed under his strategic brilliance. The sun began to set on Issus, casting long shadows over a field irrevocably changed by Alexander's genius. This daring cavalry charge cemented Alexander's legacy as history's most audacious and brilliant military commander. Alexander's phalanx, an unstoppable wave, shattered the Persian left, clearing a path for the decisive blow. Their initial objective achieved, the Macedonians had torn a gaping wound in Darius's vast formation. The momentum was irreversible. The Persian flank buckled, its defenders scattered, leaving an opening. But Alexander's gaze was not on the routing wing. He saw a greater prize, a final, crushing blow. With lightning speed, Alexander's elite companion cavalry executed a pivotal turn, changing the battle's axis. No pursuit, no lingering. Every rider, every horse, moved with unified purpose towards the heart of the enemy. The pivot was audacious, leaving his flanks momentarily exposed. But Alexander trusted his veterans. This was the moment. The Macedonian cavalry, a deadly arrow, now aimed directly at Darius himself. Deep within his formation, Darius III watched, unaware of the impending direct threat to his life. The rumble grew louder. The ground shook. Alexander's cavalry bore down with terrifying, focused intensity. Their target was clear. The Persian king, the very symbol of their colossal empire, now within reach. Slowly, dread began to creep through the royal retinue as the Macedonians closed the distance. The shockwave of Alexander's charge was a physical force, undeniable, relentless, and accelerating fast. Darius saw it then. Alexander, personally leading the charge, directly at his position. Panic seized him. The roar of battle, the clash of steel, now converged on his royal standard. He was exposed. The invincible king, facing imminent death, felt his vast power dissolve into raw, primal fear. The reality of capture or death struck Darius. His position was compromised, his life in mortal peril. Without a moment's hesitation, Darius gave the command. His war chariot lurched, turning away from battle. The King of Kings, ruler of millions, fled the battlefield, abandoning his army to its fate. He left his elite guard, his loyal generals, and his vast army to face Alexander's fury alone. Alexander's target vanished. Yet, the momentum of the Macedonian charge was now unstoppable regardless. A single Persian standard-bearer, seeing Darius flee, drops his banner in shock and despair. Like a deadly contagion, the news of Darius's flight swept through the Persian army, sowing despair. Commanders tried to maintain order, but the heart of their command structure had just been ripped out. Persian soldiers, previously holding firm, now look around in confusion, then begin to falter, formations breaking. The psychological impact was devastating. If the king fled, what hope remained for his soldiers? The battle dissolved into a chaotic maelstrom, every man for himself, a terrifying, desperate free-for-all. Panic became a stampede. The sheer numbers of the Persian army became its greatest weakness. Alexander's Macedonians pressed their advantage, carving through the shattered, disorganized masses relentlessly. Retreat turned to rout, and rout to a deadly bottleneck as the Persians fled through the Pinarus River. The Pinarus River became a bloody barrier, its waters stained crimson by the unprecedented slaughter. What began as a strategic withdrawal spiraled into a catastrophic, full-scale collapse of the Persian army. Darius's grand army, once a colossus, lay broken. Issus was a total victory, an epoch-making triumph. The dust settled over Issus, revealing a landscape irrevocably altered. Alexander's victory was absolute. The Persian losses were catastrophic, a testament to Macedonian efficiency and fury, the numbers truly staggering. Reports spoke of 100,000 Persian infantry, 10,000 cavalry, and countless camp followers slain. A bloodbath. The battlefield became a sprawling graveyard, a stark monument to Darius's tactical blunders. The cost was immense. Beyond the grim tally of dead lay an unimaginable bounty. Darius's opulent camp became Alexander's prize. The great king's temporary palace, once a symbol of immense wealth, now lay open, plundered. Mountains of gold, silver, and precious artifacts, enough to fund Alexander's grand ambitions for years. Persian craftsmanship, legendary for its beauty, was now added to the Macedonian treasury, a conqueror's reward. The ultimate symbol of Persian authority, the royal standard, was seized. Its capture spoke volumes. Yet, the most profound capture was not gold or banners, but the very heart of the Persian royal house. In his desperate flight, Darius had abandoned his family, a king choosing survival over his kin. Within the luxurious royal pavilion, Alexander's men discovered the great king's mother, wife, and children. The soldiers, initially expecting more spoils, found instead a scene of terrified royalty, vulnerable and exposed. Sisygambis, Statira, and the royal children were now Alexander's captives, a deeply personal victory. Overwhelmed by fear, they anticipated the harsh treatment often dealt to conquered royal families. Alexander, despite the temptation, made a calculated choice. He would not pursue Darius immediately. Consolidating his stunning victory, securing the vast spoils, and reorganizing his forces was paramount. The immediate aftermath required meticulous organization, ensuring order amid the chaos of such immense plunder. Crucially, Alexander issued strict orders. Darius's family was to be protected, treated with utmost respect. He offered personal assurances, a surprising act of clemency that would resonate profoundly across the empires. The capture of his family dealt an immense psychological blow, a personal humiliation for the great king. Darius, now not only defeated but shamed, lost face before his nobles and his people. His authority shattered. Issus was more than a battle. It was a symbolic turning point, signaling the beginning of the end for Persia. The dust settled at Issus, but its echoes resonated far beyond the battlefield. A profound legacy began. This was no mere skirmish. Issus became an irreversible pivot, forever altering the course of ancient history. Before Issus, Alexander was a formidable leader. His victories hinted at greatness, but more was needed. Issus transformed him. It was a legendary feat, proving his military genius against overwhelming odds. This singular victory cemented Alexander's legendary reputation, elevating him to an almost mythical status among his people. His name became synonymous with invincibility. Issus solidified Alexander's image as an unstoppable conqueror, a living legend. The narratives spun from Issus were powerful. They fueled a mythos of divine favor and military brilliance. With the Persian army shattered, Issus opened an unhindered strategic path. The road south now lay bare. The rich lands of the Levant, once under Persian sway, became Alexander's next inevitable target for conquest. City after city fell, Alexander's forces swept through the Levant, asserting Macedonian dominance with brutal efficiency. Beyond the Levant lay Egypt, the breadbasket of the ancient world, a prize too vital to ignore. Without significant opposition, Alexander claimed Egypt. He was welcomed as a liberator, a new pharaoh. Issus fundamentally shifted the balance of power. The Achaemenid colossus began to visibly totter. Persia's long-held dominance was irrevocably broken. Issus exposed its vulnerabilities, accelerating imperial decay. In Persia's decline, Macedonia surged. Alexander's empire rose, establishing a new hegemony across the eastern Mediterranean. Issus was more than a battle. It was a crucial stepping stone. It paved the way forward. This victory gravely wounded the Achaemenid Empire. Issus unmistakably foreshadowed its eventual catastrophic fall. Darius III fled, leaving his family captive. His credibility as emperor was shattered, never to fully recover. Issus ensured the Achaemenid Empire's doom. Its collapse was now a matter of when, not if. From the ashes of Persian dominance, a new era dawned. A world reshaped by Alexander's conquests. This was the dawn of the Hellenistic age. Greek culture and influence would permeate vast new lands. Issus facilitated an unprecedented cultural fusion, blending Hellenic ideals with ancient Eastern traditions. A new world. Issus stands as a testament to strategic genius. Its enduring echo-shaped empires for millennia. We've witnessed the fury and triumph. Now, we reflect on Alexander's unparalleled strategic genius at Issus. His audacity, a gamble against overwhelming odds, forever redefined the art of warfare. Issus wasn't merely a battle, it was a masterclass in tactical execution against a colossal empire. Its indelible mark on military history echoes through centuries, inspiring generals worldwide. Alexander's audacity to strike at the heart of the enemy lines was truly unmatched. His vision saw beyond the immediate chaos, orchestrating a victory few believed possible. The tactical brilliance displayed dismantled a colossal empire with disciplined precision and devastating force. A smaller, disciplined force, forged in the crucible of battle, stood against untold numbers. With surgical precision, Alexander's Macedonians tore through the heart of the Persian might. The echoes of Issus inspire us to delve deeper into these epic narratives of history, explore more legendary battles, forgotten empires, and the indomitable spirits of conquerors and defenders. Join our journey. Subscribe to a leading analysis channel for more cinematic history. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and share it with fellow enthusiasts. Together, we grow our community of cinematic history enthusiasts, one epic story at a time.